to just say, nah, that's too big. I'll just do it later in life, or, I just can't do it now. And that's absolutely natural and normal. This is where you have three choices. You can either abandon the goal and stick with smaller goals in life, but that could lead to, feeling of disappointment. You can try and do it yourself. If you're really, really determined, there's a lot of great stuff online where you can find a tool, a methodology that you just think, yeah, I can do that. I can do that consistently every single day to start changing my mindset. Or you can get an expert to help you to do it more quickly. The key thing is,
welcome to the Business Ownership Podcast, brought to you by Awareness Strategies, helping you navigate the waters between entrepreneurship and ownership. Hey there, peeps. This is Michelle Nedelec, and I'm super glad that you're here today with us because I'm here with my most amazing guest, Nina. Nina, thank you so much for being here with us today.
thank you for having me here, Michelle.
Awesome. So give everybody the highlight of who you are and what you do for business.
I'm Nina Cooke. I'm a mindset coach. I work with entrepreneurs to help them to maximize their profits by maximizing their mindset. The link between mindset and profit is undeniable. And when you are thinking big, when you're taking risks in your business, when you've got great habits and behaviors that support your goals, you get much easier and bigger results.
I love it. So I have a ton of questions for you, but before we get into all of that, how did you get into mindset coach as a thing, and particularly money? How did that all transpire?
Well, it's really happened as an ongoing thing in the back of my mind that I had to fix myself. So back in 2005, I started my first online business. It was a personal shopping business. I'm not a personal shopper, but I knew how to run that business because I'd worked for someone else in the back office. So what I did is I hired an amazing personal shopper in London and a fantastic makeup artist. And from there, we grew the team because they would refer someone they'd worked with who was absolutely brilliant, and then they would refer someone else. And my business grew very, very rapidly, and it became a nationwide business in a matter of months. This wasn't my plan. The great thing was back then, I didn't know what I didn't know. And therefore, in a way, I was just saying yes to everything. If a client in Manchester, which is the north of England, asked me if I had a service up there, I said yes. And I thought, I'll figure out how to get her a personal shopper up in Manchester. And so my business grew, and I was good at marketing and selling. And I really liked my role of being behind the scenes. It suited me perfectly because I had a real fear of putting myself out there, of marketing in a public way. So what I did is I found a way to market using Google Ads. Back in 2005, 2006, Google Ads were relatively cheap and accessible. I had a really good business coach, and he was talking about marketing funnels, and which I'd never heard about. So I got in on that quite early on, and we managed to get my business on the top spot on page one for personal shopping. And this brought in clients. So there I was on my phone doing my sales stuff with clients, booking them in, never being seen. That meant I didn't have my face on my website. I didn't have my name on my website. Didn't do any social media, nothing. It was all done behind the scenes. And then my brilliant team were going out face to face with clients. So this was working pretty well in terms of my profits, etc. Until one day I got a corporate gig, a really nice big corporate gig in the centre of London, a big accountancy firm. I'd booked them on the phone. I still hadn't met them face to face. And the evening of the do, which was a pampering evening for their top female staff, for the top female clients. So I went along, I took a team of 20 stylists, makeup artists, manicurists. They all set up their posts, everything was in place. And then all I had to do, my job that evening, was to go and chat to the senior managers and their clients and see if I could book some more gigs for myself. You'd think that'd be very straightforward. However, as I started walking towards a group of these high-powered women, I suddenly thought, I can't go and talk to them because they'll talk to me and they'll realize that I'm not good enough, that there's something wrong with me. They'll see the flaws inside of me and they'll think, why did they ever book me? So I thought, I can't do that. That's just too dangerous. It's almost like a danger sign came up in my head. And so I did a quick left turn and I found this semi-dark office and I hid in there for the rest of the evening. And at the end of the evening, when I felt it was safe to come out of the office where, you know, all the corporate people had gone home, it was just my staff packing up, my team packing up, I crept out of the office and on the train on the way home, and I remember it was a dark November evening, and I stared at my reflection in the window of the train and I said, you've just messed up again. You've done it again and again and again. This keeps happening. Opportunities come up and you completely throw them away. And you know, when you get that moment, you think, this has got to change. I can never go through this humiliation and disappointment in myself again. I'm going to fix myself. I'm going to find something. And Michelle, I always felt that there was something that I was missing that other people had, which made me wrong somehow, wrong within myself. I wasn't, you know, there was something that was inferior about me. And so I started checking out, finding out trainings, personal development trainings. But my one criteria was that it had to be a permanent fix. It couldn't be temporary. And so I tried so many different modalities in personal development. Some of them were fairly good. They gave me like a made me feel good for a short while, and then I'd go back into my feelings of inadequacy until I came across a coach. And he said, the only reason you're feeling like this about yourself is because you believe your limiting beliefs are true about you. And to cut a very long story short, he showed me how to identify those beliefs, put names to them. I'm not good enough, I'm not deserving, you know, I'm not allowed. I remember one of the beliefs was, I'm not allowed to shine. Because in my childhood, the way to keep myself safe was to stay hidden and under the radar. So he helped me to dissolve these beliefs and start planting new, powerful beliefs, the beliefs that I wanted to dictate my life. And as this process happened, I organically and naturally began to step up in my confidence. I stopped worrying about what people were thinking. I stopped fearing people. I always had this thing in the back of my head before that I'm in trouble, that people are going to tell me off, I'm in trouble, and therefore I need to stay hidden. I lost all of that and I started putting out videos. And the funny thing was, and I never ever expected this, but as I became more confident, started marketing in putting myself out there, marketing myself and booking corporates, you know, at Goldman Sachs and Sky, my profits started going up. And I thought, this is really interesting. So as my mindset improved, my profit improved, there's definitely a link between them. And that's when I lost all interest in my personal shopping business, because my interest now was like, whoa, I can help other entrepreneurs to increase their profits and have a nicer business working with bigger clients just by changing their inner talk. And therefore their self-belief grows, their confidence grows, they believe and expect more from life. And that's when I started working with entrepreneurs.
Nice. That's beautiful. Well, and it is such an amazing story, because a lot of people think that their ability to succeed, period, is limited to kind of how they feel about the money. But what they don't realize is that there's going to be this kind of uphill, downhill struggle. It's almost like success teases you and goes, oh yeah, you have it. Now you have to get through this wall, if you will. And this is kind of the next wall to come up against. So when you're working with people, it's kind of start at the beginning. Do they have to hit the wall before they
Yeah.
come and see you? Or can they come and kind of work on, like, something's not going right here and I'd really like to get rid of this?
Yeah, and that's such a great term that you use, because there is a wall of fear. It's like a wall of fear. So sometimes you feel you're stuck in a rut, and then I always think when it's a rut, it's a dip. But that dip is in front of that wall of fear. You can't see your way around that wall. And so what you can do is you can think, okay, I'm going to try, and you know, we get an idea that we want more. We want a bigger business, we want to make more profit, we want to work with bigger clients. And then when we have that thought, that new thought, it has to have there's an internal battle between all your limiting beliefs that say, that's not going to happen for me. I'm never going to be that successful. People like that aren't going to want to work with me. I'll never be able to charge that much. So you've got a battle between your conscious mind, which has this new goal, exciting new goal, and then all your pesky demons, your limiting beliefs saying, oh no, that's going to be a big fail. And then you go up to that wall and then you walk away and just say, no, I'll stay in my comfort factor. But then you can always have a different choice. So you can say, okay, I've got this new burning desire. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to find a way to make it work, and I'll do whatever it takes. So it's that point where clients tend to come to me where they know they want more, but they don't know how to get it. And they've got an inkling, a very strong inkling, that it's not the marketing strategy or the sales strategy or the process that's going to get them to the next step. It may be that they've got the most wonderful marketing strategy sitting in front of them, but they know they're not implementing it. So they kind of figure out, okay, it's me. I'm the one who's stopping myself. So I really want this better life, and I can't do it on my own because I don't really know what I'm fighting against at the moment. So they come to me because I can give them obviously expert guidance. I can give them an objective view, and I can give them accountability to get past that. So the key to going through that wall of fear is to consistently focus on your goal and to develop an emotional connection to it. So it just becomes familiar to you and it becomes like a friend to you, and you start believing and expecting it to happen. And as you do that, as you internalize that goal, then you automatically start changing your beliefs to match that goal and your habits and behavior. And the interesting thing is, going through that wall is necessary, because it's not, the bigger profits and the bigger house, what's on the other side of the wall. It's your growth, how you start changing, how you start seeing yourself differently. So your self-image starts to change. Your identity starts to change, and you start seeing yourself as someone who can create the habits and the behavior and have the consistency and the discipline and commitment to go for what you want in life. And when you've got evidence of that, that's when things start getting really exciting.
Thanks. I love it. So why don't you talk to me about, there's an element or a time when somebody they don't know what they don't know. So they don't know what this thing is that's stopping them. And in your case, it was, I'm going to get in trouble if I go over there. So how does somebody bridge that of, I know I want that thing. That thing looks fabulous. It looks wonderful. It's like swimming in the ocean. I totally want that. And I don't want to get sucked in by the thing that's going to take me down, that's in trouble. So how do they kind of start swimming in the ocean when the thing they think is going to attack them is the thing that they can't see, if that makes sense? Like, how do you give them the comfort of that goal, and not get stopped by the intrepidation of the thing they can't see?
This is the crunch time for people, because it's so easy to just say, nah, that's too big. I'll just do it later in life. Or, I just can't do it now. And that's absolutely natural and normal. This is where you have three choices. You can either abandon the goal and stick with smaller goals in life, but that could lead to, feeling of disappointment. You can try and do it yourself. If you're really, really determined, there's a lot of great stuff online where you can find a tool, a methodology that you just think, yeah, I can do that. I can do that consistently every single day to start changing my mindset. Or you can get an expert to help you to do it more quickly. The key thing is to dig your heels in and become very, very stubborn and say, I'm going to have this no matter what. I will do whatever it takes to have this. And that can only come from within you. And we've all had moments in our life where we have taken a leap of faith. There was something that seemed impossible in our lives, but we wanted it so much that nothing was going to stop us. It may have been moving to a different city. It may have been going from corporate to owning your own business. It could have been, breaking up one relationship, finding a new relationship. It was something huge and you didn't know how you were going to do it, but you knew that end result was so important. It was transformative to your happiness. So it's times like that, and we all had them when we just find the power within us and we stubbornly say we are going to have this no matter what. And so what we've done with that goal where we decide we're going to have it no matter what is we have created a very strong emotional connection to that goal. We know that it's on the other side of that wall of fear, but we're going to get through that wall of fear no matter what it takes. And the funny thing is, when we have that very strong connection to that goal that seems impossible, we find a way. Suddenly the way opens up for us. We've all had that experience in life and you think, well, I could never have figured out that way, but actually that worked really well. Isn't it amazing how everything just lined up and I got it? So it's sort of getting back into that mode again and being very disciplined with yourself and saying, well, what is it that I really, truly want? So when you know what you really truly want, not what your parents say you want or your society says you want or what your peer group all want, is what you really want. It's to get through that difficult bit at the beginning where it feels like an alien goal. It feels like an intellectual goal. It feels outside of you, far away. It's to have that discipline to start drawing it into you, drawing it within. And that comes from daily focusing on your goal. Now, the thing is, we all want more, but most of us, I would say, aren't prepared to do what it takes to have more in life because we retreat to our comfort zone. We think, well, this is going to be really difficult. How am I going to get that? We get into the house. How am I going to have that goal? But the secret is to focus on the end result of that goal. Forget the house. Just give yourself that luxury of daydreaming about having the goal, about the end result. So say you want a seven-figure business that gives you plenty of time, to go on holiday, spend time with your family, work your own well-being, all of that stuff. So you may think, well, that's just pie in the sky. How am I ever going to have that? If I ever had a seven-figure business, I'd have to work all the hours God gives. I'd have to put my prices. I'd have to put myself out there. Oh, that just feels too difficult. How would I ever do that? So with that, when we start thinking about the how, that kills our goal dead straight away because we think, well, I can't do it. I haven't got the tools, the resources. I'm not that person. So instead of thinking about the how, just focus on the end result of that goal. Write it down. I have my goals. You think, God, these are fantasy goals. That's why I teach my clients fantasy goals. I have my business goal and my personal goal written on either side of the card. I look at them every day because I know exactly where I'm going. So it's just thinking about the goal and the end result, writing it, saying it, visualizing it, whatever it is, consistently. And that means every single day. So you saturate your mind with it. Most people will never do this first step. They just say, yeah, I've got it. And then they'll put it somewhere, they'll write it down, forget all about it and get on with the humdrum of life. But the people who are the most successful in life, or the people, and when I would say successful, I don't necessarily mean in terms of money, I mean in terms of their life that they love having. They're the ones who are very focused on having what they want. They have found a way to think about it all the time, to dream about it. And as I said before, to believe they can have it and expect they're going to have it. And that's why they have what they want. They draw it into themselves first. So it is, as I keep saying, discipline, commitment, consistency. But there is nothing bigger than your life that you can make a commitment to, the life that you want to have. If you can't make a commitment to doing what it takes to have that, then you will be settling for less, mediocrity, and disappointment.
So I see a lot of people who will take kind of 5 steps forward something happens, 3 steps back. And they kind of struggle again. Okay, we'll take 2 steps forward. And then something happens in 1 step. And it's like, okay, the universe clearly does not want me to have this goal because things keep happening that stop me from getting it. What do you say to that?
I don't believe that. Some people do believe that, but my own personal opinion about that is that I don't see the universe as separate to us. I am the universe. I am in control. I'm 100% responsible. So the universe isn't going to punish me in any way. I am part of the universe. That's how I believe things are. And everyone has their own complete, different way of looking at it. And I respect everyone's opinion. The reason why we don't get the goals, or we, take a few steps forward and a few steps back, isn't because the universe is making us wait for it or anything. It's because we waver. We ourselves lose faith in having that goal. We think it's too difficult to have it, or we may think, well, I've been trying for a month or 2 months or 3 months and I haven't got it yet. Therefore, this doesn't work. It does work because it's like a law. It works if you apply it consistently. And I get it, there's off days, there are days where you just think nothing's going wrong. Those are the most important moments to step up in your thinking and spend time thinking about your goal. As I said, it's about being so stubborn and so certain that nothing is going to stop you. It's funny that we're talking about this because a couple of days ago, something happened. I can't remember. I think I made some offer and I didn't get the results that I wanted on the offer. I put out an offer. And I remember almost gritting my teeth and saying, I am going to have this. I'm going to be so stubborn about this. This was my own self-talk because I've been doing this for such a long time that I avoid trying, spending too long in rabbit holes and can pull myself back. I said, I'm going to have this. And it's just saying it with so much certainty in your mind. It's like, nope, nothing's going to stop me from having this. I am going to have this. And the more you talk to yourself like this, the more normal it becomes. Because what you're doing is you start making that your dominant thought. And the subconscious mind, which is like a goal-grabbing machine, will grab your dominant thought and turn that into reality. So our job is to really be very, very intentional about the dominant thought we have about the life that we want, and just keep thinking it, talking about it, writing it. One of my clients loves to record her goals and then she listens to them. So everyone's got their own different way, but find a way that you enjoy, that you can think about your goal every single day.
I love it. So in a moment, I'm going to ask you about a Cinderella story of one of your clients. But before we do that, we're going to take a quick break.
Are you running a business over 7 figures but still struggling with technology headaches? Pay attention, you do not want to miss this offer. This podcast episode is brought to you by Awareness Strategies, who is offering a custom-built digital adoption roadmap for anyone running a business over 7 figures who's wanting to grow their business in the next 5 years. And it's not just a roadmap, they offer full implementation as well if that scares the out of you. Check out awarenessstrategies.com/roadmap for more details today. The link's in the show's notes. Don't regret not doing this. Do it now. That's awarenessstrategies.com/roadmap.
So I'm super excited to hear about a Cinderella story of one of your clients.
I have a client, a wonderful client. He's a financial advisor. And when we started working together, he wanted to retire. He's in his late 60s. And his idea was that he could try and retire maybe in 3 or 4 years. That would be great. But he was worried that he wouldn't get what he wanted for his business. He didn't know how it was going to happen. He wanted to make sure his team were really well taken care of. So when we started working together, because the first thing I always do is ask my clients what they really, really want. So he said, I'd like to sell my business. And I said, okay, so let's, what would be the perfect scenario for you? Well, I'd like to sell it at this amount. I said, how soon would you like to sell it? Well, within the year would be great. So what else is important? Well, my team are really well taken care of. What else? I'd like to continue to work in that business once it's been sold, but just doing work that I love and only working the hours that I want to work because I want to do other things like voluntary work, etc. I said, anything else? He said, well, it'd be really great if the company buys my business, I carry on working in it, and then we merge with other businesses, independent financial advisory businesses, and then we sell them as a group. So down the road, I get another bigger payout. So, okay, so we need to write that down. Just I write it on my card. I make all my clients write their goals down. And he was like, oh my goodness, this is big. This is big. I said, okay, let's write it down. And, and then I give my clients something to do on a daily basis, like creating a daily mindset practice, focusing on the goals, changing habits, behavior, and all of that. He now has, I think it's 4 offers to buy his firm. And one of the offers is very, very juicy, and they're going to take great care of his team, and he can work there on his terms, etc. So this has all happened because he has put both feet in with this. He's committed to it. I hold him accountable. We have weekly calls to make sure he doesn't get, discouraged. He keeps on this track with his goal. So he's going to have a choice of vendors, and he's going to sell at the price he wants to sell at. So, he was a little bit wavering on the price. I said, put that price down, focus on that price, and it's going to happen exactly as you want it. So this is the power that we have within ourselves, rather than thinking, well, things happen randomly in life and by default, and, I'm at the mercy of forces outside of myself. It's thinking, I can create the life I want through the power of my imagination. Because our imagination is our most valuable tool. We use it all the time to fixate on things we don't want and bring them to life. So how about using your magic wand to fixate on what you do want and think big about what you want and bring that to life?
I love it. So I know our listeners are going to want more from you. How did they start that journey with you?
Well, what most people say to me is, I don't know what my limiting beliefs are. I don't know what's stopping me from being more successful and making more money. So what I did is I looked at the most common limiting beliefs around success and money that my clients have. And I work with hundreds of clients. And I created a Millionaire Mindset Mastery Scorecard, which lists those success and money limiting beliefs. So you can find out exactly which beliefs you have around success and money. You can score yourself on them. You get an analysis of your score, and also the next step you can take to start dissolving those beliefs and start having really powerful beliefs around success and money.
Brilliant. That is awesome. So if you want to give that a link, or are we going to have a unique link in our show notes for them?
I will give you the link. It's quite a long link. So if it's okay,
wonderful.
Can I share that with you?
Absolutely. So we will, of course, have Nina's link in the show notes. Go ahead and scroll down, click on that link, open up in a new browser, because we're not done yet. So at this point, I know you've given us your story about how you got into the coaching side of things, but I'd like to ask you, at what point in life did you know that you were special kind of crazy enough to think that you could become an entrepreneur?
I fell into it completely by accident, Michelle. I took some time out to have children. And then when I was ready to go back to work, I decided I wanted to work from home. I didn't want to go back into an office. And by chance, someone connected me with a personal stylist. And this personal stylist was just about to go big on TV. She'd just been plucked out of nowhere to go on a TV show. She was looking for someone to run her business for her, booking clients, do sales, look after all the personal shoppers and makeup artists, make sure everyone was in the right place at the right time. So I ended up working for her for 3 months. Unfortunately, she wasn't the kind of employer that I could see myself working for long term. She didn't quite have the values that I had. So I we parted company after around 3 months. And I remember saying to my husband, oh, I quite enjoyed what I was doing. I'm not sure what I'm going to do now. And he said, well, why don't you do it for yourself? And I thought, ooh, interesting thought. So I did. And because I didn't know what I didn't know, I just went ahead, created a website. I had there was a personal stylist who I really loved on her team and a makeup artist who I really loved on her team. They weren't exclusive to her and they were really happy to work for me. And so I just built up my business.
Awesome.
And I loved it. I loved the freedom it gave me. And I loved learning. I loved learning about online marketing and all that fun stuff.
That's awesome. So I want to ask you at this point, and I know I haven't warmed you up to this idea or not, but I know you have an opinion on it. So when it comes to the difference between starting a company and building up, everybody kind of has these milestones. The first milestone is always, I want to earn 100 grand. The second milestone, it seems, is I always want to hit 1 million. There's nothing in between there. So in your experience and in your and working with your clients, is there a difference between kind of being under that $100,000 threshold to getting over the $100,000 threshold? And is there a difference between being under the $1 million threshold and getting over that one?
I think there is stress attached to every level of growth. Because when you're under 100K, you may look at yourself as not successful. Then you hit 100K and the stress still remains because you're thinking, I don't want to go back under 100K. I need to maintain this and grow this. So there's stress involved with that. If you pass 1 million, how am I going to hold on to this? And is it going to be even more stressful going forward and managing the team and all of that? So it's not the numbers which are important, it's your attitude. And the attitude is all about your beliefs, your feelings, your thoughts, your habits. So if you can focus on that rather than the numbers and find a way of growing your business where you are thinking about wealth beyond the money. Wealth for me is relationships, health, well-being, time out, doing what you want to do. It's all of those, looking at all those different areas and just seeing it as, well, again, this is an attitude rather than a grind. And this is what I teach my clients. Think of it. Start programming your mind to think of everything as being easy and fun. Easy and fun. Just tell yourself all day long, this is so easy and fun for me. This is so easy and fun for me. Because you get to decide which story you tell yourself about growing your business.
I love it. You have been absolutely amazing. Any last words for our peeps?
Go for it. Go for your big goals. You can do it. You've got it within you to do it. Exercise that power.
Awesome. Thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it. And I know how valuable it is.
Thank you, Michelle.
Awesome. Peeps, this is Michelle Nedelec. Thank you for being here with us today. Be sure to subscribe to the show, share it with your friends. We love helping entrepreneurs grow.
Are you running a business over 7 figures but still struggling with technology headaches? Pay attention, you do not want to miss this offer. This podcast episode is brought to you by Awareness Strategies, who is offering a custom-built digital adoption roadmap for anyone running a business over 7 figures who's wanting to grow their business in the next 5 years. And it's not just a roadmap, they offer full implementation as well if that scares the out of you. Check out awarenessstrategies.com/roadmap for more details today. The link's in the show's notes. Don't regret not doing this. Do it now. That's awarenessstrategies.com/roadmap.